You're standing at a quiet crossroads where a single shortcut guarantees $1 million result. No one is watching, no laws are broken. It is a tiny gray area compromise that guarantees immediate success. Leaders today operate under constant digital surveillance, yet trust within organizations has hit a historical low. This gap creates a volatile environment. It's a dangerous reality for anyone in a position of power. Ethical collapse follows an incremental path, a sequence of daily compromises that accumulate. It functions like a staircase. When treated as a compliance checklist, it creates a trust tax. Velocity drops. Teams search for hidden agendas, communication slows, and costs rise. Conversely, high trust environments produce a trust dividend. When people don't have to protect themselves from their own leaders, they flag problems earlier and collaborate with fewer barriers, allowing the organization to move with significantly more agility. Building that trust requires a framework to test decisions across 3 spheres of impact, moving from the leader's internal conscience out to the broader professional environment. The first sphere begins in isolation. Before a decision affects a single employee, it must survive a leader's internal standards. Management consultant Peter Drucker argued that the most vital tool for this internal sphere is the mirror test. This test asks, what kind of person do I want to see when I look in the mirror tomorrow morning? It forces a confrontation between a specific business choice and the leader's own values, stripping away the ability to make excuses. The danger here is self-rationalization, the process of convincing yourself that a compromise is a one-time necessity. This acts as the gateway to the downward staircase of compromises. Internal self-respect is the foundation of authority. Once a leader compromises their standards in private, it becomes increasingly difficult to project a consistent, credible direction to their team. The second sphere expands the focus to the public. If a decision clears your conscience, it must then withstand the reality of external scrutiny. Investor Warren Buffett applied a simple metric for his managers to navigate this exposure, the front page test. In a digital network, private actions move with high velocity. A single internal email can be shared across global networks in minutes, making traditional secrecy an obsolete business strategy. Buffett's test asks you to imagine your choice as the lead story in tomorrow's newspaper. If you cannot explain the logic to your family or your critics without relying on corporate jargon, the decision is structurally compromised. When private actions match public words, it removes the power of outside critics. Decisions that rely on permanent secrecy are inherently fragile. The final sphere moves to the systemic level, focusing on the specific people who will live with the consequences of a leader's choice. Executive authority can create a cognitive bubble where people become sterile data points and individual livelihoods become rows in a spreadsheet. The reversibility test breaks that bubble by forcing a shift in perspective, functionally applying the golden rule. This requires you to stand at the receiving end of your own policy. If the roles were reversed, would you find the decision fair? Passing this interpersonal test prevents the abuse of authority. It keeps operations humane and sustainable by ensuring that people are treated with the same respect as the business outcomes they produce. When the mirror, front page, and reversibility tests align, they create an integrated framework for integrity. Consistently using this framework reduces internal friction. When a team sees these standards met, they execute with confidence, spending less time second-guessing their leaders' motives. This framework is not a one-time fix. Maintaining integrity requires a daily commitment to combat the slow accumulation of small daily compromises. Think of a dilemma you are currently facing. Which of these 3 tests is the most difficult for you to apply to that situation? Join the conversation in the comments.